Hello, everyone. This is Mark Anthony with AI Edge Podcast. Hope you're doing well. I know today seems a little different. You're probably like, why is Mark in his surfer wear? Well, I got the beach back there. What the heck? Anyways, thought I'd do something a little bit different today since we are both Californians, I believe. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking with Dr. Ivan, and we're going to be talking about neuropathy demystified with Dr. Ivan. And of course, DC, got to throw that out there. Today we're going to be talking about neuropathy. You can find Dr. Ivan at neuropathyOC.com. Very simple, neuropathyOC.com. What I will say before we start, my friends out there in internet land, make sure you share. Why? Because one video can change one person's life, especially what we're talking about today. We're talking about neuropathy. How many of us out there struggle with neuropathy? Diabetes, numbness, tingling. A lot of people do. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. But the cool thing is you have Dr. Ivan who can help you. And if you don't have neuropathy, share this with somebody that does, because I know you guys know somebody that does. So, Dr. Ivan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. And yes, we are both in sunny California.
I love it. It's funny. I have a best friend of mine. He lives out in Hawaii, and and all his pictures like this. And he said, he said to me, "Do you know what this means in Hawaii?" I go, "What?" He goes, "This means I'm only going to work with two fingers," because he says a lot of people are kind of, they don't want to work much, just very little, so two fingers. But anyways, doctor, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into neuropathy demystified. Tell us about yourself, how you got into neuropathy, how you got into chiropractic. Go for it.
Hey, so a little bit about myself and how I got into chiropractic and neuropathy specifically. So I went to UCI, which is right there in Orange County with you. And I was actually specialized in neuroscience there. I did some research there when I was in high school. And I went there for my bachelor's and I focused on neuroscience, continued to do research. And I was actually going to be a cardiothoracic surgeon, which is a lot of fun. But it's also one of the reasons why I didn't continue with that path is because it's also very depressing. Lose a lot of patients that way.
Mhm.
And what changed for me, because I didn't know about chiropractic at this point, was when I was going to UCI, I got into a major car accident. I flipped my Nissan Pathfinder, hit straight into a big old rock on the freeway that bent the frame in and basically tore my face off. If you
Wow.
can see the scar right here, the whole thing right here was fully exposed like this.
Dude.
It it made me so pretty that when I was getting surgery, the surgical intern fainted. He was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful." Passed out.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So needless to say, after an injury like that, I got some nerve damage. Right. Doctor said that my face would be droopy, and I also got a beautiful scar right along my ulnar nerve right here. Now, I was young at the time. I was like, I'm fine. You know, 2 weeks later, I was taking my chemistry exam. So that's how things were. My face was swollen. I could barely see,
Always works out that way.
but I was in there, right? I was pushing through. But the thing is, a year later, my sister forced me to go to a chiropractor. She's like, you got to go to this guy. It was Dr. Cohn by John Wayne Airport. You got to go there. You got to try it out. I'm like, I went to a chiropractor for my car accident. It was a huge disappointment. So why would I do that? Well,
Yeah.
after enough persistence, he forced me to do it. Now, when I went to go see him, he did some NET, but he adjusted. And when I was adjusted properly, not what you see in most car accident cases. But when I got a proper adjustment, I walked out of that office floating, like on cloud nine. I was present, I was alert, I was focused, I had no pain, and I felt lighter, taller, and happier. And from that moment on, I was like, I want my patients to feel like this. That's what
Wow.
I want to do for people. And 2 weeks later, I'm going to chiropractic college. That's how I got into chiropractic.
That's
But you're
amazing.
right. Thank you.
Think about what you said though. I'm listening to you. Before you were even a chiropractor, even a doctor, you said, I want to help my patients. Just thought I'd throw that in there. I like that.
I mean, if you're going to do something, you might as well be fulfilled, right?
Hmm.
So as I'm continuing with chiropractic, I started doing adjustments. I, at one point, I was seeing between 90 and 200 patients a day.
Wow.
So a lot of adjustments in there. I got pretty good at it. Uh, I was working for somebody else, of course. And after a certain point, I started to develop or show the signs of neuropathy. What ended up started happening is because of deterioration on my ulnar nerve, especially on my left hand, I started to get shock-like pain every single time I did an adjustment.
Wow.
And this is 9 out of 10 shock shooting up my arm. So that made work a little difficult, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I still continued because, well, that's my dedication, and I come from an era where we push through things. But it was definitely a problem that I needed to resolve. So I took a deep dive into neuroscience with my background in it and my ability to access research, specifically peer-reviewed research. I took a deep dive into what works, what doesn't work. I also had a little bit of help with my cousin who actually teaches at a medical school. So she helped me out a lot and she does neuroscience specifically. And I came up with a neuropathy protocol, not just one to manage pain, but one to physiologically change the person or at least help the body change and heal and increase performance in nerve function. So for the last 6 years, I have not had that pain at all.
Wow.
And there's a little funny story. I was trying to resolve it the traditional way, right?
Mm.
The insurance-based way. It took me 6 months to see a neurologist after getting my referral. Which imagine if I had a brain tumor, how would that
Yeah.
have gone?
Yeah.
So, and thankfully, after my brain MRI, which was totally clear, I convinced her to do a neck MRI because you figure after a major car accident, you'd want to get a neck.
Yeah. 100%.
Turns out I broke my neck too.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You weren't in pain?
And well, I mean, when you have a pain that's here, that's so much more massive than anything else, you're not going to focus on the other parts.
Wow.
I mean, I was in so much pain from this accident that the Norca that they prescribed to me did nothing, absolutely nothing. I stopped taking it because it made no difference. But chiropractic did, which is hilarious. And
So what do they do with the whole neck?
not, they did nothing. They can't do anything, right? Because this is years later. The fracture has already
It's already
healed.
happened.
Yeah. All
Wow.
they can do is, deal with it.
Interesting.
So the nerve compression that I had in my neck had deteriorated to the point where it no longer was radiculopathy, it was now neuropathy because the nerve had started to die off.
Mm, that makes sense. Wow. That's a good reason to get into what you're doing. And now your passion is to help people. So let's talk a little bit about that. What does that title mean? Neuropathy demystified.
Neuropathy demystified is I chose that title because there are many nuances and many different causes and results of what neuropathy is and how it affects people. A lot of people think, oh, it's just a little numbness that I can ignore, or it's, oh, I feel a little weak here and there once in a while. But the problem is that neuropathy is the nerve dying off. And when the nerve dies off, that means your brain does not get a signal from that part of your body. And when the brain stops getting a signal from that part of your body, it actually does get a signal. It's a signal that that part is no longer viable, and it starts getting rid of it. Kind of like the plant. When you look at a plant and the leaf starts to wilt off,
Mhm.
that's what's happening.
Okay, wow. So let's talk about your practice some. So when somebody comes in with neuropathy, what does that look like on how you help them? Do you spend 5, 10 minutes with them and then they're out the door? How does that work?
Well, as much as I would love to say that they come in, I spend 5, 10 minutes with them and they walk out perfectly healed, my beard and my hair are not long enough to do those things.
You're all like, I'm not Moses yet.
No, unfortunately. I am blessed because I'm still alive, but I am definitely not a Messiah. What I do the first visit is become situationally aware. We like to clarify exactly what's going on with the person. There are different types of neuropathies, different causes of neuropathy, and different situations. There are four different nerve types. One of the main things that we like to do is we like to take a thermal picture because everybody loves pictures. Um, the thermal picture lets us see what part of our body is inflamed because they show a bright red. They let us see what part of the body is somewhat normal, which shows us orange. And they also let us see what part of the body your brain thinks is dying because they show up blue or cold.
Wow.
And sometimes it's quite scary to see how much blue there is going on in your feet, especially, or your hands, or even just one limb. Like I took a picture the other day where everything seemed okay, but the toe was just dark blue. It's like almost completely gone. So it's a very interesting thing to see. The other thing we do is we check balance. In normal nerve function, a person should be able to stand on one leg with their eyes closed for 30 seconds.
Mhm.
We do this because this is a safety concern. With your eyes open, if you can do it, that's okay because your brain's cheating. It's bypassing that signal from your foot to your brain because it uses the signal from the eyes. But you're not going to see the curve. You're not going to see the ice. You're not going to see the oil. You're not going to see the bump in the road when you're walking. So your foot needs to be able to send that signal. And if it can't,
Okay.
you are going to fall. And with science miracles, doctors are able to save you from all kinds of conditions. But a fall, that's a lot harder to save you from.
Wow. So what are some of the things that you've seen in your office where you've seen people maybe like they came in with a certain type of neuropathy and you're like, man, I don't know if I can help them. But you notice that all of a sudden when you started to help them, you started to get a lot better. Like, do you have any testimonials that you can maybe share with us without the names, of
I,
course?
I have one testimonial which hit me really close to because I genuinely told this person, I don't think I can help you. This man walked into my office. Walking is a strong word. He dragged his feet into my office. He shuffled in, could not lift his feet off the ground. By this point, he had already lost a toe, could not walk, pain, of course. And we did the tests. I already knew he wouldn't be able to stand at all. I mean, he couldn't even stand while holding me. So I was like, well, I don't know if I can help you. I I sent some electric current through to see how much life or reaction we can get. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And my protocols, it because it's involved, it's not a low price one, right? I mean, it's not as high as stem cells where we're reaching,
Or
hundreds
even
of thousands of
surgery?
dollars or surgery, but surgery is covered by insurance. So I was like, this is a decent investment for you, and I am not sure you're going to be able to get the results that you want. But thankfully, he's a fighter, and he's like, let's do this. So we did. After a month, the pain was gone. After 2 months, he was able to take steps,
Wow.
like an actual full step. We do a 90-day protocol to start. At the 90-day mark, he was able to go walking with his wife for an hour and a half a day. Full steps.
Dude, it's amazing. How old was he?
He was 82.
Mic drop. 82. We have people in their
82.
50s that have this type of condition and wouldn't even go for a block, a half a block. So he is a willing spirit. So what you're saying is you can work with people, but you need to work with people that have got that stinking thinking and said, no, we're going to do this and we're going to do this together.
Yeah. You know what the best part is?
Huh.
He didn't even have to give up drinking.
So I love it. Hey, oh, wow. So what are some of the big things that you see, the majority of types of people that you see that come with neuropathy that maybe triggered their neuropathy, that maybe that you see that they were doing what they were doing too much of it, whatever that may be, whether it's food, whether it's drinking, whether it's whatever that you see the type of neuropathy patients. I know everyone's different, but what are the type of ones that you see the most that maybe we can also help people out there that don't have neuropathy, but that are on their way to neuropathy that you've seen? Just maybe one big one that you see a lot.
I'm going to share one with you that unfortunately did not become my patient. So I don't have a success story for you. But I'm going to share it because it's something that you don't see commonly. Okay. Because this is somebody in their mid 20s, and you don't think of neuropathy with somebody in their mid 20s, but it happens a lot more than you would like to think. This is somebody that did a lot of drinking, maybe a little bit more than just drinking, and got to the point where they walked in the same as that 82-year-old. Now, they had not lost a toe yet, but that's how they walked in. And I thought I could help this person because being young, the actual likelihood of helping them is much higher. And their response was also there, right? The 82-year-old, the, there was no response. So I was confident I can help this person. But unfortunately, it does take a little bit of effort on the patient's part as well. It is a process, not just an investment in finances, but investment in time and effort and belief in self. And because of the pattern and being young and prioritizing different things, they did not want to proceed. They chose going to Vegas instead of taking care of the situation. And that's okay. It makes me sad because it's pretty clear what the future holds for that individual. But we're in America and they have the freedom to make the choices.
Wow. You can't get them all. It's a hard one. I have a father who has really bad neuropathy, had open heart surgery, everything. Smokes, doesn't care. He does care. He's done better with his eating, but he's taking so many pills and I see him deteriorating slowly. He has good days, but he's learned how to manage and manipulate it to feel better for a certain amount of time. And I asked him, I go, don't you want to get better? He goes, yeah, of course I do. But this is how I want to live my life. I want to go out on my own terms. And it's very selfish because he has children. And it's like all I can do is pray for him to have his eyes to be opened because he doesn't want to be changed. But the reason why I bring up the story, not to put my dad on fire, because I know he won't watch this. He's one of those stubborn ones. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are struggling right now with neuropathy, but they want to change. Those of you that don't want to change, you don't want to watch this video. It's going to be too much for you. It I would say, what would you say? 50% of it is that spirit of willingness, and the other 50 is just willing to, you know what, let's do it, whatever we can. And if you're thinking, well, it's going to be too much money, you know what you're saying, everyone out there? I'm not worth it. You're not worth it. Isn't it funny how when something happens, a car breaks down, we don't have the money, but we fix it? Why do we not do that with our own bodies? I mean, I don't know. Have you ever wondered that? Have you ever had somebody tell you, well, I don't know. I mean, how do you deal with those type of people?
Because I've had a patient, insurance, even when medical care is, everybody has medical care. Everybody has some sort of insurance.
Exactly.
So even Medi-Cal will cover pain relief. And, things like gabapentin, they do still work for about 30% of the people.
Yeah, sure.
Notice I said 30, not 100. Uh, you actually have to have 6 people that you give that drug to before you actually get one that it works on, which is kind of crazy, depending on the dosage, of course. But the thing with insurance, it provides a nice little safety net, a nice comfort zone. And we all know that it's hard to get out of our comfort zone sometimes. And when things like pain management are covered and surgery is covered, you get patients that come in and they fully know that if they continue the path that they're on, they're gonna lose toes and feet. And when I ask them, 'cause sometimes some people allow me to be as direct as this. It's like, so you're okay losing your foot to that? And the reply is, well, insurance is gonna cover it. And it will. You're absolutely right. Insurance will cover it. It might even cover the prosthetic too. And that's okay. Some people want that.
Very interesting. I think that the good news is I always like to look at the good news. The good news is that there's a way, maybe not to cure it, but to reverse a lot of the side effects of what I hear you saying.
Well, my goal and what I get success in is to get actual physiological changes in the body, where your brain will start recognizing that part of the body as being worth keeping alive instead of wilting away.
I like that. So as we end this right now and land the plane, what could you leave off with people that are in your area that are wanting help, but they just feel like they're giving up? I've talked to everybody. I've taken every single pill. It's not working. What type of hope can you give to them and recommend?
I'm a firm believer in anything's possible. You just have to find the way. And working with me might not be the way that you get to where you want to go, but I can for sure help you get there, or at least guide you to get there. Because if we go with the standard, I would not be here in front of you today.
100%. I mean, your story, it's very interesting. You didn't, what if you would have just given up? You could have
That's not
easily
in
done
my
that.
nature.
That's my point. And think of all these people that you're helping. I mean, unbelievable. And Dr. Ivan, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And everyone, we talked about neuropathy demystified with Dr. Ivan. You can find him at neuropathy.oc.com. Neuropathy OC. I like OC because for me it stands for ocean. Let's go hang out at the ocean, grab a good cup of Joe. Like I told the doctor, hey, I'll bring the coffee, you bring the creamer. And then he said, hey, funny thing is I ran out of creamer, but I'm sure you still made it work. All right, bro. I appreciate you. You have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day.
That was good.